Greetings, Rebel fans. My name is Jason Kelly. This is the Let's Run podcast. I want to welcome you all to the show today. I am willing to turn this live off and go on to Spaces if there's demand for that tonight. Because I wasn't planning on going live after this specific game, but I have a few things I want to say. So, just about the team, it's kind of um, it's kind of pointless to get on after a win and complain too much, because frankly, New Mexico lost to that terrible New Mexico State team at home. Crazy losses can happen. There can be there can be weird 3-point stuff going on in games, and so the results of games can be kind of erratic. But I thought that this game was a pretty, I don't want to say it was damning because they did win. And again, this Runnin Rebel team, while they haven't had that Southern type loss, but they just haven't been inspiring outside of a 10-minute period in that Memphis game at home. And so, I did pay. I am in Utah right now. I was not able to be at the game, which is pretty unfortunate. But I did pay the $20 to watch the game, so I figured I might as well go live after the game, because tomorrow this game's going to be forgotten about, and people are going to be talking about our incredible hire as our head coach for football with Dan Mullen, which slam dunk home run type hire. Tomorrow, basketballs might be back in the back of Rebel of Rebel fans' minds. And that kind of feels like where basketball is right now. There's so much going on with football. We have the bowl game next week against Cal. We have and go ahead and put stuff in the comments, guys. Again, if you guys want to switch this over to a space, I'm willing to do that. But yeah, and Reno Hater brings up a really great point here. I thought that last year's roster, the roster that Kevin Kruger put together last year, I thought that was a better team than this year's team. In fact, I thought last year's team was a tournament level team, and just in terms of the talent that they had. I thought the Boons were really good college basketball players. Now, did they have other issues? Yeah, they absolutely did. But I thought that they were good players to kind of anchor a team. I thought DJ was playing a little bit better. I don't think that DJ has played great this year so far. I don't know how he would feel about how he's played, but I don't think DJ has had a spectacular day by any means. And we have Dayton, and yeah, our next game is. And again, guys, if you want to do this as a space, I'm willing to transition into spaces, but just let me know, because I don't want to. Spaces are kind of tough because you want to start the space and you want to have a lot of people listening and a lot of people contributing, but it's kind of awkward if you start a space and nobody's there. So yeah, this is the one. Like, there wasn't zero positives to take away. Blurt Reynolds says that Swishwing was a baller. All right, so should we switch over to spaces? I'm gonna keep going just if we get a little more viewership in here. But I just felt like I thought Pop played okay. Pop Di. I don't know if it's Pape or Pop in Di, but I thought he was fine. I thought Brooklyn Hicks had some energy. But there's a few players like Jalen Hill. Yeah, we need Master Rebel. I don't think he's on this live stream right now. I was still planning on doing a Spaces Day Burner Brigade tomorrow night, kind of at our normal time, around 8 o'clock. Hopefully that works for everybody. But Jaden Henley was back. I mean, that was nice, just because at least he's a body at the wing position. I thought he looked healthy, but again, he looked a lot like what I was used to seeing from him early on in the year. Jalen Hill's offensive game is really tough to watch. It feels like he just likes to post up, and that's really all he does. He likes to post up guys that are issues with him. The Rebels' next game is Dayton, and it's going to be the game that the Rebels should have played last year that was canceled because of the mass shooting. Is that on Tuesday? Is that game on Tuesday? I believe it's on Tuesday. So the Rebels play at Dayton on Tuesday. Um, you can get tickets for $5 to that game, by the way. Um, DJ falling off a cliff. I don't know that I'd say he's off a cliff because you look at his performances this year. He's not as good as he was to end the year last year, but I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the roster just isn't quite as good as it was last year. He doesn't have players to, last year DJ had players like Luis Rodriguez on the perimeter on defense to kind of make up for his lack of size and athleticism. And DJ is a fine athlete, for his size especially, but he's not like an elite athlete. Um, and so DJ this year, he's shooting. I want to find his shooting stats this year. DJ is shooting 72% from the free throw line. That's not good enough. He is shooting 40% from three, which is a respectable clip. In terms of his effective field goal percentage, though, it's only at about 46%, which isn't great. Um, he's shooting 40% from the field, 42% from three. Um, so, I mean, it's not like a bad year, but DJ hasn't taken kind of that next step that I think a lot of us were assuming that he was going to do. But again, I would throw that almost as much on the issues with the roster as much as I would on DJ. I don't think DJ has necessarily done anything wrong. He just hasn't been, he hasn't been transformative as a player. Um, yeah, and and this is Reno Hater says this, and this is totally true. Like DJ is really often the only offense that the team has. Um, I'd say the most disappointing aspect of the team this year, though, um, it's Bear Cherry. And if you guys disagree with me, go ahead and put it in the comments. But after those first two games, I genuinely, and even coming into the season, I thought Bear was going to be a very difficult guard in the post. But apparently, doubling Bear is all you have to do to slow him down. Bear has he just doesn't deal with doubles very well. He seems a little erratic. He seems kind of antsy in the post. He's had some good games. And I know that he had a lower back injury, but I think Bear's been a little disappointing this year. Jake was at the game. Um, yeah, I mean, here's the thing, like, when it comes to the fan base and the attendance, I mean, you saw with UNLV football this year that, the fans are willing to be interested in Rebel sports, but it's gonna be apathetic, like because the Runnin Rebels just haven't provided anything that interesting in the last 12 years. Apathy is kind of what's going to happen, and the focus is so much on football that um, it's a big issue. Blurtbring asks about Whaley. Whaley had a pretty serious and is dealing with, and I'll say this, I'm sure most of you know this, but Whaley has been dealing with a pretty serious lower back issue a lot of this year. I think he's legitimately hurt. Like there's no if he were healthy, he would be playing this year. But I think this lower back issue that he has, um, I think this lower back issue that he has is legitimately kind of debilitating, and he just hasn't been able to get back on the court. Um, this is his senior year. This is his last year of eligibility. He's going to have missed, 40% of the season by the time that he could come back, which I think is around after Christmas time, when conference play is about to get going. So nothing's been decided. That's up to him and the coaches and his family and whatever. So I don't think that yeah, and I don't think that Whaley looks, you don't want to speak too directly about a player's physical stature or what kind of fitness they're in, but I don't think Whaley looks right physically. I think he's too big. He's got too much weight. Um, I think this lower back issue has been keeping him from working out, from exercising. And when somebody's not working out, when they're not doing the cardio, when they're not, I don't think he's in shape. If Whaley came back this year, I don't think he would look good at all. Now he could prove me wrong, obviously, but when somebody's out of shape like that, Whaley certainly, I don't believe that he would come back and looking like the player that he looked like last year. Um, and it's because he hasn't been exercising. I mean, I'm sure he's been doing a few things. I'm sure he's been training, but I don't. He hasn't been going full game speed, and I think he's out of shape. Um, and yeah, I mean, if this is his last year, like, do you really expect him to want to come back? Um, he can have another year of eligibility. He will be a desirable name in the transfer portal. There will be teams that want him. Could he come back for the Runnin Rebels again? It would take our team kind of turning our fortunes around and being a lot better than they are right now. Like, I don't think DJ is going to be here next year. I don't think I think he's going to go get a bag. He's going to chase, go to Houston, go to Florida, go to one of those big schools that wants you. I don't think Rebel fans would wish him anything but the best at this point. He's given us, he's going to have given us 2 years at that point. The team will have not achieved its goal of getting to the NCAA tournament. And again, you look at this team right now, there's some seniors. Bedford's been very disappointing this year. Um, I didn't love Bedford, but I did think he would be able to contribute more. Um, I did think he'd be able to contribute more offensively consistently. And defensively, he's been quite bad. I don't love it. I don't love what I've seen from Bedford at all this year. I think Bedford's talented. He could turn it around. And to be fair to a Kevin Kruger team, um, Kevin Kruger teams, except for the one his second year, uh, people want to make this a space. Um, all right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end this right here. I feel like I've said my piece. I'm gonna turn this into a space. Everybody, jump on and let's talk. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. My thoughts are this team doesn't have an identity. It's not playing hard, and I want to hear what you guys think. So I'm gonna end the stream there, and I'm gonna jump on a space and let's talk. All right, we'll talk soon.